What is up, everybody? Welcome back to TeeDogCustoms and to another video. We just got back last weekend from Carlisle from the All Breeds Jeep Invasion. Amazing time. Check that last video out. I'll probably list it right above right here, somewhere up here. Go ahead and check that out. It was a great time. If you haven't seen it, it'll definitely be worth your while if you like Jeeps and that sort of thing. Now, in today's video, I told you guys I was going to cover this, and so this is the video that I'm going to do it. We are working with a MP241 DHD transfer case. This is the old one out of my Jeep. It had some cracked housings. I'll go over that once we tear into this, but I'm going to show you guys how to take this thing apart and service any parts that may need to be serviced on the inside. I am not going to do everything on the interior, but I do want to show you guys taking the tail shaft housing off and then the back part of this housing off and what all goes into that and so forth. So without further ado, let's dive right into this. This bearing has to be installed with the groove toward the tail shaft. So keep that in mind. Now, I'll go ahead and pull this off because we will. It's broken, and I'll show you what's broken. And I'll take your bolts out around the transfer case here. So there are two studs that have washers on them, and the purpose of those, so just remember the ones that don't go, the long studs, which are in the ends here, those are the ones that have the washers. So this one has a washer, and then the one on the far other side has a washer. That's what those washers are for, so remember that. Let's see here. Pop this off. And that leads us to this part here, which I want to show you guys, which is broken on mine. It's pretty much this right here. So this is how this is supposed to, hopefully you guys can see this. This is how this is supposed to go. There's a pump. This is an oil pump. It pumps, if I'm correct, it pumps oil. I think it pumps oil over to this tail shaft when it's not in four-wheel drive. I can't remember exactly, but this pump pumps oil, and it's got this little filter system on it as well. But anyways, what happened on mine, this goes on the outside of the case, but what happened on mine is, if you can see, there's supposed to be a rubber O-ring and it clicks down in there, but then this right here is broken. There's no, the aluminum broke somehow. So that is going to be a problem probably, but you can see this filter system. It filters out and goes right in the case like this. And then this goes on the outside and gets stuck into this. You will notice there's a little bearing, roller bearing style in this case, which rides on this right here. Keep that aligned and everything. Another thing you'll notice when you take it off, just be mindful. This is a cap on the spring. It goes on here And when you take this off, a lot of times it will fall down in your transfer case, so just be mindful of that. But you've got that right there, that comes off. And as far as you know, this goes, this is taken apart. This is as far as I had to take mine apart because I replaced, my transfer case was still good. I just took these 3 parts. I took this, I took the casing and the tail housing off of this newer DHD one that I had. But if you were going to tear this down farther, you would pop this off, pull this out, then you take these bolts off here. Now, I don't know about this particular transfer case, but on my Dodge one, there were 2 seals. So there was actually no seal around this because there's no fluid that is supposed to be in here. This is the seal for the T case, and then on the NV4500 trans, what is in my Jeep, there's a seal on that that slides around the outside of this one. And so there's no need for a seal or a gasket. Some people RTV it anyways, gasket maker, but there is no specific need for that because it's not supposed to get fluid in this cavity here. However, I'm not sure with this particular setup, but I think it's the same. I think the seal on the transmission rides on the outside, which is pretty much that. So you would take these off, and then this would pop out, and then after you took that out, you could literally pull these out, and your shift fork would you know, slide out. Everything would, you know, slide out, and you could service the fork wear spots and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to cover with you guys. I just wanted to, you know, putting this back in together is kind of difficult. Well, I should say it can be difficult because you have to mess, when you're putting it all back together, you've got to make sure this stays aligned as you know, pop the casing down in there. You also have to make sure, and it's almost impossible with this one because it's broke, but you have to make sure that this tube stays down inside there. There's no O-ring on here. So this is, you know, obviously I would not recommend reusing this pump or the filler neck because there is a kink in it as well that's not supposed to be there. So whoever was in this before me kind of messed a couple things up, and anyways, that's just kind of the situation we have here. You can take these apart. I did it before, or I've done it, taken this apart, and there's this gear here working around another kind of gear, which gives it the pump sort of thing. It's off-centered, so as this shaft moves, it, you know, pumps. So that's kind of what that is. You've got a slot right in here. Something down here is actually, there is a magnet down in the bottom here to catch any metal chunks that may break off, or, you know, wear, dust, stuff like that. It's in this little slot, slot right down here. So just be mindful of that. That's what that is. And yeah, pretty much This all goes, if you're putting it back together, I guess we'll cover that real quick because it can be difficult. Now this is broken, so it's going to be even harder to get it in. But let me show you this. There is a specific notch in your casing that is made for this tube to sit like that in there. Sometimes you'll get it and you'll try to stick it in and it will not go right. I think that's what happened with this, is that someone tried putting it in and jammed it in and kinked it. It's got to go in this little groove here, right like that. So yeah, some people do this, and then like I said, there's supposed to be an O-ring on here, and it slides in there. Like I said, this is probably the hardest part. There we go. Then you'll slide, find the right grooves, slide this, and that didn't work. So because the O-ring's missing, it's just gonna pop out, but kind of and you hear that sound? That's the little tip falling off, so be mindful of that. All right, let's see. All right. All right, there we go. So that'll slide down like that. Now you'll run your bolts through the casing. That is exactly how it's supposed to look, right like this. So run your screws through. I think I've got a couple here. I'll run 2 through real quick. There we go. All right. So that's in there tight, exactly how it should be. You'll torque everything down. Then you're going to go back on the install with your snap ring all the way down on the bottom groove right there. Make sure that's in. You're going to install your bearing with the groove on the outside. So slide that down. Oh, come on. Very tight tolerances, so you want to make sure you have all your surfaces cleaned. This is a junk T-case as far as I'm concerned, so I'm not cleaning it like I would. But there we go. So that's in there like it should be now. Now you're going to slide your, don't forget this part, you're going to slide your gasket on, and then you're going to slide your tail shaft on. And this is as far as it's if you notice, this is another crucial point. If you notice, I can move this back and forth. You're going to have it as far out as it will go to make your tail shaft slide down like it should. So if I can see now that the snap ring is against the bearing, I'm going to stick my tool down in there and slide the cap on right like that. Now I can bolt it down with the stick my gasket back in. These will get hard, brittle, and dry rot. So a lot of people put RTV a little bit around the gasket and then pop it in. But that is it, guys. That is it right there. You know, torque down. I did strip out the Allen key, so I welded a nut on here. Made it easier for removal. But that is it, folks. As always, guys, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you know, do a brother out, help me out. If you can give this video a thumbs up or comment or subscribe if you're not, I would really appreciate that. Hit the bell if you want. That kind of stuff really helps me grow this channel, and that's what I'm trying to do. Help as many people as possible and grow the channel and give out some fun, good content. So that is it for this video, though. Let's see if there's any comments or questions or easier ways to do this. By all means, I'm not an expert at everything, so feel free to comment your opinion down below. If it is worth me adopting a new technique, I will. If it's not, then obviously I'm not going to. But always open to input, and yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. Keep grinding. Peace.